And we're talking to LLillard, Kwame, and before we had our break, Lillard, we were talking about some of the things dealing with the African street fair, which is the topic for today. And I think we were struck by a statement that you made in reference to the survey dealing with things that were consumed by black people that you were able to elicit each year at the African Street Fair. Let's talk about that, because it seems that you've got access to a mind of information that should be quite important to some people. Let's talk about that information now.
Early on, probably the second festival, we realized that for this festival to really take off, we were on the cutting edge of black consciousness in '83 now. No one used the word Africa. It took '89 before Jesse Jackson decided to use the word African American. So we knew we were kind of pushing the envelope of where people's minds were in Nashville, in the region. And we called it an African Street Festival. We wanted to make sure that was there. So in order to gauge whether or not there was any acceptance and what level of acceptance, we decided to not take our own level of consciousness and project on what people were thinking, but ask them, literally ask them. So we developed a survey for them. And we do 500 sheets every day of the festival. We take high school kids and college kids, and they walk around with a pen and pen, and one sheet is 12 questions, and they ask people things like their age, obviously the sex, their income, marital status, whether or not they are considered TSU graduates or other graduates in the area. We ask them how long they've been at the festival in hours, how many festivals they've been to, would they come again, would they bring somebody, have they brought somebody. Once we get that established, it takes about a minute, then we ask things like, what did you buy? Did you buy jewelry? Did you buy books? What price range did you spend? Did you spend more on food for your body or more on money for your mind? Okay, did you bring a child, and did you buy a child's gift? Did you buy a holiday gift? Like, are you using the festival to stock up on gifts for Christmas? That's economics.
These are the questions that,
yes,
that this survey will elicit.
Absolutely. And then we ask questions toward the end like, would you suggest things we ought to do for next year? All right? And what did you learn? And from that information, you'd be surprised, the information we got the first 3 years, we knew we were on the right track. Because we would ask white attendants, we would ask folks with jerry curls, we would ask folks with dreadlocks. And we got a real, almost an average profile of what Nashville wanted to see in that festival. We asked things like, should it be more than once a year? Almost nobody said never, because it builds up the anticipation. Okay? Once a year is what we want. Like Christmas.
Once a year.
Holiday, Thanksgiving, once a year. You know? So that's what people want. They want that build up and expectation. The time of year was perfect. Fall year. We also found out things like toward the 5th year that there's not enough children's activities. So we put together a children's pavilion, which if you come today, you will find storytelling for your child, face painting, a lot of family information.
Creative kind of.
Yes, very good family information about what your child ought to do for homework, how you ought to relate to that child for homework. We have very practical things that last all year long. We have things like Kwanzaa. We have information on Kwanzaa, how you take that idea of Kwanzaa, 7 days of the week, 7 days of Kwanzaa, and use that in your daily life to build that strength and belief in that child, and that child takes that. So this is all at the Children's Pavilion today. You can come by and pick the information up, totally free. And of course, we've always had a free format, free admission, free parking, and free child care. That gets into that sense of it belongs to everybody. It doesn't exclude anybody because the check didn't come in today, or they got paid and they couldn't pay the rent. It's a choice between paying for parking or not coming, or paying for food and not coming. We give that sense of it's all available. It's accessible. It doesn't cost you anything. Come on out.
And so all of this information is available at the African
Children's Pavilion. You come into the front of the festival, and the first tent you'll see will be the Children's Pavilion. You can drop your child off there, and you can go where you want to go. Because that child will be entertained, craft, fed, and if he gets cuts and bruises, we got some first aid folks from Harry there, nurses from Vanderbilt and General Hospital. And if he gets lost, we have excellent black officers there who will accompany that child to the stage, and you'll retrieve your child. We feel that once you walk into that festival, it's family. no matter who you are.
I think you've put quite a bit of emphasis upon health and those aspects, and why don't you give us some information in terms of your thinking about the health in the community and what you're trying to achieve when you invited all of these folks to be a part, those who are a part of it, and what they're trying to do today, what they did yesterday and what they're trying to do today.
Okay. After you see the first tent, which is the Children's Pavilion, the second tent you see will be a tent manned and sponsored by Access Med Plus. They're a very important underpinning of our festival. They provide a lot of support and resources.
Support very good.
That's right. They're like a co-sponsor almost. An Access Med Plus tent, right past the children's tent, you'll be able to get glaucoma screening, high blood pressure, diabetes, a series of battery of tests to see where you are as a person, your weight, your vision. And it's important that every festival that we have understand that the health in the community is both spiritual, physical, and mental. And we don't try to leave anybody out, and we try to serve the entire community, specifically around the issue of health. So we know that in our country, health is a major problem.
Let's talk about that as one of the social issues, because I think that from your own training, you're well aware of some of the problems that we're having in terms of health and welfare and et cetera. Let's look at it from that perspective, what the government is doing and what it should do, and that from that perspective.
Another unique thing about this festival is we don't take federal money. We don't take government money. Not that we don't trust the government. Not that we don't think the government ought to have some serious responsibility for its citizens. But sometimes the people must lead the government. Sometimes we must be the government ourselves. To that extent, we think the festival is an outgrowth of the American ideal, is that from the people comes the solutions, not top down but bottom up. The festival therefore becomes a crucible for people deciding what is important to them. Health and mental health and physical health is extremely important to people. So we have excellent foods in our food tent, which is the next tent you'll find this morning once you leave the health tent. What do you find in the food tent? Foods that build fibers, food that's natural juices, food that's cooked right in front of you, fresh meat, and that gives a sense that, well, besides the children's mental abilities, mental needs, the health, there's a food court there waiting for you to taste excellent food. Come on out this morning, and you'll be dined on Caribbean food, African food, Latin food.
Let me interrupt for our commercial break here, and we'll be back shortly after that, and after which we will talk about some of the other things associated with the African Street Festival. We'll be right back.